Faces dropped on a Saturday Power Hour here at SDH. Getting ready for Nashville and Atlanta tonight in MLS. Atlanta United 2 and the Miami FC in USL Championship. The Premier League is underway. La Liga is underway. Lots of stuff on a Saturday morning. So if you guys have questions, you can throw them at us on Twitter at Soccer Down Here. You can throw them at us via email, soccerdownhere@gmail. You can also throw them at us on the Twitch pitch, twitch.tv/soccerdownhere. John, where do you want to start?
Well, let's see. Since I was in Warner Robins, Georgia last night getting severely rained on while you guys were doing the run-up, how many times have you hit refresh on your Twitter feed this morning?
No, I gave up a long time ago because it's not worth hitting refresh because they don't deserve for me to hit refresh because they still haven't suspended Nicolas Figal. I think it's obvious that they're not going to suspend Nicolas Figal. And it's not funny anymore. It's an embarrassment. Mm-hmm. It's not a joke. I hope people understand this. It's not a joke. It's not a gimmick. It's not something to get some engagement. It's an embarrassment for the league. A player intentionally, if you want to say he didn't hit with the elbow, okay, he was trying to throw the elbow, so he's got bad aim. He hit with the forearm, whatever. He intentionally struck a player in the face, and it got a yellow card. And the disciplinary committee, who saw fit to give Franco Escobar a suspension retroactively for swiping the legs out from under somebody, which was a petulant thing to do. He was angry. He was frustrated because he had been manhandled, and the ref didn't blow the whistle in that. That's still on Franco. That gets a suspension. But this, which is blatantly obvious, does not. It's an embarrassment. It's a complete and utter embarrassment. It's not funny. It's an embarrassment for the league and for Pro and for the disciplinary committee, and I can't take any of it seriously anymore.
Then my other question coming in after listening to the show last night is how different do you anticipate the starting 11 for Atlanta United, considering that continuity has been a topic that we've been discussing this week with starting 11s and individuals and trying to have some kind of roster continuity and playing continuity out there on the pitch. With this being this particular match, once again, short turnaround, all these kinds of factors leading into it. How different do you anticipate the starting 11 being tonight?
It's probably going to have to be. I mean, continuity is a great thing to strive for. When you're playing Wednesday in a sauna in Fort Lauderdale and then turning around and playing on Saturday night in Nashville, you kind of have to throw continuity out the window, and it's next man up. Who can play? Who's got the legs to give me 45? Who's got the legs to give me 60? Who can get 90 out of your legs? Because you're going to have 5 players go 90 minutes. It's tough. Continuity is what you want. It's not really possible at this point. So you've got to find another way. The good thing here is that Atlanta United has had to play a lot of different people. A lot of different people have, been incorporated into the way that Stephen Glass wants his team to play, which is building out of the back, which is possession, which is working the ball to create chances. It hasn't been as effective as he would like it to be because he's had to constantly chop and change the lineup because of tired legs, because of injuries. Yes, because of a suspension from the disciplinary committee. Be nice if that went the other way as well. But anyway, those things affect continuity's sake. So, I mean, you can field the same lineup and they can get tired in 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever. And then you have to blow a bunch of subs because of that. I just don't think that's feasible right now. So you've got to go with who is the fittest at the moment, who can give you what you need in a match against Nashville, who's very good defensively, getting better going forward. They have ways that can hurt you in the run of play. They're very dangerous on set pieces, and they're pretty good at earning set pieces with Mukhtar and De Leal. So you've got to fight that. You'd love to get continuity, but it's just not feasible at the moment.
Right now, Juice Boxes, Nashville's at plus 112, Atlanta United at plus 242, and your draw's about the same in the composite from our friends at Odds Portal, plus 244.
Look, the plus 242 is a really good number for an Atlanta team that has beaten Nashville twice already. I'm a little surprised it's that high. but it is. It depends on how you're feeling, and that's a good number because Atlanta's not going to see plus 200s very often, especially against a team they've beaten twice. I mean, that's a kind of surprising thing. Atlanta matches up better with Nashville than they do with Orlando or Miami, in my opinion. Nashville's got to find a way to take the game to Atlanta a little bit here. It can't just be wait for Atlanta to make mistakes because Nashville doesn't have a Rodolfo Pizarro. Nashville doesn't have a Mauricio Pereira. They don't have those kinds of players that Atlanta makes a mistake as a giveaway. Nashville can then fashion a chance out of their talent in the middle of the park, their talent going forward. It's not the same. So they've got to find a way to create their own chances and not just look for that. They're going to do that from pressing. I think they're going to do that from some of their pressing up high as they've started to do more and more. They're going to press a lot from the right side in Alistair Johnston, who will push up higher. Your right winger doesn't really press quite as much, but Johnston will. They've moved Alex Muil generally to the left side, and Muil will give you a lot of energy, as you've seen from his Red Bulls days. And Muil and Lovitz will be very aggressive on that left side. Leal's moved over to the right at times, and Leal's the one who doesn't press as much. He's the one who wants to be free. Johnston makes up for that at times. Godoy and McCarty sit deeper. Mukhtar is a player who will press. For a creative attacking player, he will press and he will be dangerous. Dominique Badji will make things difficult for you, as we saw here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. He will try to get under the skin of the center backs. He's the one who got the suspension for Franco Escobar. He's the one who should have been sent off in that match for multiple yellow card infractions and wasn't. If the game's allowed to go down that road, he will take shots at Atlanta's center backs and their outside backs and whoever he comes in contact with because it's effective. It takes you out of your game.
Has there been any one particular player for Nashville, or it might even be a couple of players, who've impressed you here in segment 3 as Nashville has gotten their sea legs, I guess, under them?
Johnston, because he was unexpected. He's a rookie and turned into a pretty good right back. When I first saw him play as a right winger, they talked about how he had played some right back. John Freeman, Nashville's radio play-by-play, talked about having some conversations with him and saying he was comfortable at right back. I figured that's where they were going to go because it gave you more of a true right back than Jililani Baba playing on the right side. So he's been the one that's allowed them to do more. Muil's a perfect fit for what Gary Smith needed with that team. Badji hasn't taken the step forward. Abu Danladi hasn't taken the step forward. Daniel Rios hasn't taken the step forward. That's why you're bringing in Yondre Cadiz. He'll be the number 9 when he's eligible. Mukhtar's always been impressive to me. Nothing's changed there. McCarty's playmaking from a deep-lying position, you can't sleep on it. He is a great passer and creates a lot of chances from deep. Godoy is the one who gets involved in the build-up. McCarty is the one who can slice you open. That's impressive. The back line's good like we expected. Johnston's been the biggest surprise. McCarty's still playing at such a high level. It is just so impressive, and he's a good fit for this.
Referee, the officials for tonight, Armando Villarreal is your center ref. Your assistant referees, Benjamin Hall Volpenheim and Brooke Mayo. Your fourth official is Ted Uncle, and your VAR is Kevin Terry Jr. Historically, what kind of a game does Villarreal like to call?
Let's actually check that out because I have not finished that on my notes. Armando Villarreal. Let's see what he did last year because this year's kind of crazy to compare, and you're talking about just a handful of games. This year, 23.75 fouls per game. That's middle of the pack. He's had 1 red in 8 games. 4.38 yellows per game is very high, so he goes to the card often. 2 penalties in 8 games. That's fairly average. Let's see if we can get to him last year where we've got a full season to look at and make sure that those are consistent. Sometimes you'll see a blip in like 8 games and it's not a fair representation of how that referee calls games. So we go back to last season, and Villarreal was one of the more consistent referees in being booked. Did 21 games. That put him tied for 7th in the league. Fouls per game was actually less last year. He was at 20.86. That put him 3rd from the bottom in terms of calling fouls per game. Sabiga called a little bit less, and Alan Chapman called the least amount of fouls per game last year. Penalties, I never really look at penalties because, I mean, that's not a trend for a referee for me. It's, you know, you can have games where you have to call more penalties. That's nothing to do with the referee's characteristics. Villarreal gave 2 reds in 21 games last year. That's on the low side. He was low in yellow cards, a lot lower than last year, and that's something to kind of see how this goes tonight. 17th in yellows overall at 3 1/3 per game. So he's throwing more cards this year. We'll see if that's consistent or just the games he's had. He's had 8 so far this year. Doesn't call a ton of fouls. I mean, his numbers this year on fouls would put him in the middle of the pack. His number last year on fouls puts him towards the bottom of the pack. If he lets a lot go, it'll play to Nashville's strengths because they want to be physical. So we'll see if Villarreal is like he has been this year or like he was last year where he let a lot more go.
And that was why I wanted to ask, because I know that folks going in, they'll see a ref crew, and they'll sit there and they'll wonder about individuals. That's why I wanted to ask that as kind of almost.
No,
like
they're
a
worried
stock
about the
question.
referee. They're not worrying about anybody else. There's no way to track anybody else. So it's all about the guy in the middle. And that's something we tried to stress with the game on Wednesday. I can't throw anybody else under the bus except for Robert Sabiga on what happened with that red card that wasn't called, because we don't know what the AR said to him. We don't know what the VAR said to him. We don't know what the fourth official said to him. We don't know what they said at halftime. We don't know how anything played out. All we know is Sabiga is the one who made the decision. So you're not going to be able to look at offside decisions from ARs. It is the man in charge or the woman in charge and how they call the game and how they manage it.
What else is on your mind about this particular matchup, or have we pretty much covered every aspect of it?
Well, we did talk about it for an hour last night, so I've kind of talked a lot about it.
Yes, I know. I was listening as I was trying not to get poured on down in Central Georgia.
Adam from 816 is back with us. Had some problems with the Twitch app, but it's all worked out now, so Adam's with us. It's good. Yes. Anyone watching Leipzig, Tyler Adams playing the 6, dropping between center backs. Haven't seen him hit a pass more than 10 yards yet. That's the element of his game that I'm waiting to see. If he can deliver that. Now, if he's in a team like Leipzig, he might not need to deliver that so often. But I do like to see him in a 6 role because I think ultimately that's going to be his best position. I like the idea of the national team with Adams and McKinney as your 2 central midfielders behind probably Gio Reyna as your best bet. I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. So the more experience Adam gets starting as a 6 for a team like Leipzig, the better everybody will be with U.S. soccer. About tonight, I mean, there's not a whole lot more I don't think we've talked about. If you guys have questions out there and you're interested in hearing more about tonight's match with Nashville, it kicks off a little after 8:30. Send them in, Twitch, on Twitter, via email. Let us know what you're wondering about tonight. I mean, the lineup's a huge question. How Atlanta attacks is a huge question because it was good for 45 in Miami or in Fort Lauderdale. It was not so good in the last 45. Fatigue set in. I think you've got to take advantage of a better start, which has just been a general conversation about Atlanta this season. Can't concede early, but you've also got to get some first-half goals going because I just don't know if this team's going to have the legs to do what they did in Orlando a week ago. I mean, it was a week ago, but it feels like a long time ago.
Yeah.
You can't leave it like that.
Looking off to my left, Crystal Palace has done something completely and totally out of character. They've scored.
Oh, jeez.
They're up in the 15th minute over Southampton 1-0. The first match of the new season was early this morning. Good morning, Coach. First match was this morning. Arsenal handled Fulham fairly easily 3-0. And so Arsenal wasn't even on the north end of minus 200. They were like a minus 175, I think, this morning going into this match. And Fulham did not look like they were ready to play.
Well, that's a bold statement. They didn't look like they were ready to play. How about they just got beat?
That too.
I mean, saying that somebody's not ready to play is very different than saying they were beaten by a better team. Is Arsenal a better team than Fulham?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not throwing Fulham under the bus like that. What makes you go to that?
They just did not challenge. They weren't very physical. It wasn't. It's like you're expecting more, and it was just dominant from Arsenal, and so
you're expecting more from a team that got promoted via the playoff against a team that won the FA Cup. You're expecting more, really?
I would have liked, maybe a little offensive punch.
Have you seen Fulham play?
Yeah. I almost had Alexander Mitrovic on my fantasy team.
Yeah, he's about the only one.
That's why I would have done it. It would have been an economical opportunity for me.
I don't know. I think Arsenal beating Fulham even at the Cottage is fairly expected. I think you're underselling Arsenal this season. I expect him to take a jump with Arteta because I think he's one of the best young managers in the game right now. I did not see Mesut Ozil get a yellow card, Ropes. I missed that one. As I was running around this morning and getting ready, I didn't even know Mesut Ozil would have been in London at this point with the way things are going with that whole situation and him.
Exactly.
Let's see here. LB Foubert talking about the disciplinary committee says it's possible they're waiting for the match week to end and then considering everything, so maybe Monday. Anything's possible. I don't rule anything out with this at this point, but that would be strange because they play tonight. I would have assumed they would have tried to get something done beforehand. I don't know. I don't remember that being the case in previous situations. I remember when the Escobar situation happened on a Saturday. Yeah, this just wouldn't fit with the way they've operated. It was on Monday that they announced that he was suspended for the game on Wednesday. And it was the game in Fort Lauderdale that was postponed. So then he had to miss the next game. So that hasn't been how they've acted before, LB. So I don't know. I really don't have an explanation, to be perfectly honest. I mean, Greg Hanthorne asks on Twitter to Mike and myself and Doug, any word on why MLS has not suspended Figal or issued any statement after Glass publicly called out the poor officiating in the previous match? I'll correct it a little bit from what Greg tweeted. Glass was very specific. He didn't call out poor officiating in general. He called out that situation, and he called out the fact that it wasn't red carded on the field. He called out the fact that Sabiga didn't seem to feel like he made a mistake, and he called out what Sabiga said to him, which was completely and utterly just wrong in terms of judging if that's violent conduct, a red card or not. So he was very specific. He didn't go with just general things. I mean, he nailed Sabiga to the wall on what he said, and it hasn't been addressed, at least publicly in any way. I don't know. I'm not expecting to hear anything. I mean, I'm expecting to see Figal play for Miami tonight, and everybody will forget about it. And it's a joke. I mean, it's a clown show. There's just no other way around it. When you have that happen, you go retroactively on a swipe of the legs and suspend somebody. You don't go retroactively on striking someone in the face. That's a joke. Player safety doesn't mean anything if that's the case. And it's funny, as LB points out, Pro hasn't put up their inside the video review yet either this week. Maybe they're going to do that at the end of the match week. I don't know, but maybe they skipped that one. Maybe that one, the tapes got destroyed. Oops, sorry, my bad. It's just unacceptable. I mean, there's no other way. And I hate to harp on this, and it turns into then when you do this, then everybody's like, oh, you're just complaining about the referees, the team lost, blah, blah. This is an egregious one for me because it's player safety. It's the lack of a red card in a situation where you would have had the whole second half with a man advantage. And it's not the first time. It's not the first time that Atlanta has had an issue go against them that Pro should be apologizing for and trying to correct, because it's happened 3 times that they've admitted in the last 12 months. And that's too many. I mean, is it going to happen occasionally? Sure. But 3 is too many. This is a joke. There's just, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I'm really disappointed that this has gone down the way that it has, because I thought it was an obvious red watching it. I've thought it was an obvious red every time I've watched it. This is why you have a disciplinary committee. So if a red card is not handled correctly by the referee crew, they correct it and suspend a player. And there's 3 former players on the disciplinary committee. Don't know who they are, don't need to know, but that should be something that raises their ire immediately with somebody being struck in the face. I mean, it just is. There was no, he's running and accidentally makes contact. There's none of that. He looks, he picks him out, he hits him in the mouth. I mean, the only criticism of the way Atlanta handled it that I have, and I hate that this is even something necessary, is if Gallagher had rolled around for 10 minutes, maybe the call would have happened. Maybe VAR would have then done something, and it shouldn't take that. But if you wonder why players do it, this is why. This right here is exactly why. Because you're trying to get the referee's attention that, hey, this was serious. I mean, Gallagher popped up pretty quick. Maybe Sabiga thought, oh, that's no big deal. He didn't really hit him. No, he hit him. He meant to. He could have hit him worse, and that's the thing. You don't get bonus points for having bad aim. So, I don't know. Cuppers asks, who's in the center tonight? Armando Villarreal. Middle on fouls per game in general, very low this season. A lot of cards this season in 8 games. Not so many last year during the season. Reds look pretty typical. So it's a little unknown as to how he's going to call the game. But Nashville's a physical team too. And look, they've watched the last 4 games. I mean, Atlanta has struggled with being fouled over 20 times a game in the last 4. It's a challenge. And if you're Ezequiel Barco, you're planning going into the game. You're planning on being fouled probably 5 times minimum tonight. Actually getting called 5 times, and we'll see what else happens. And that's, that's not how you want to be thinking about playing a game. Not when you're a creative player. You're Eric Remetti if he plays tonight. If you're whoever's playing as the 6, you're thinking like, I need to move the ball faster than normal because I'm going to get fouled, or just I'm going to get fouled and I'm going to take the free kick and just keep going. It's tough. It's tough, but it's the way teams are playing Atlanta right now. They've got to find a way to counteract it. They do need to move the ball quicker at times. I do not subscribe to the theory that Barco's fouled a lot because he holds the ball. I disagree with that, and I've said that many times. He's fouled a lot because he's on the ball a lot in dangerous positions, and he draws a lot of fouls with his dribbling. Eric Remetti's fouled a lot in this league because they're breaking up the build-up play deep. It's not because they hold the ball too long. Can they move the ball faster? Absolutely, and it'll help in the attack. The fouling is not because they're holding the ball too long. I disagree with that idea. Okay, so more things on the Twitch. Adam from 816 is going to be in Columbus, GA tonight. What are you doing in Columbus, Adam?
Yeah.
That's not 816. Any restaurant suggestions with outdoor seating, preferably downtown?
On the river.
Is that a restaurant, or are you just saying
No.
That's, generally on the river?
There are restaurants along the riverfront, along the Chattahoochee.
Yeah. Can you get more specific?
It's been a while. I'm just trying to...
That's my problem, is it's been a long time since I've been down there. I know that area, but I couldn't tell you which restaurant to jump to.
Yeah.
We will see if we can figure that out.
Bad signal. Anybody want restaurant? Anybody know restaurants in Columbus?
Any Columbus help for outdoor seating, restaurants downtown in the River District? Por favor. Kevsey said there's a brewery downtown. Not sure if they have outdoor area, and I don't know about the food situation. Most of them are having some kind of food areas now. I'll have to check that out. Okay. What else is on your mind? What else is on the Twitters?
The only thing on the Twitters is Chris Kilroy enjoying the fact that we are doing a Saturday Power Hour, so he's quite complimentary about this programming idea.
Yeah, it kind of started when we didn't have anything else to do on Saturdays, and now we have a lot to do on Saturdays, and it's still okay. I like it. I like now that there's going to be a whole bunch of games going on in the morning, and it just becomes kind of a watch-along / check-in / what have you. Joe is going to hit guys up after the show about Columbus. Adam, you're not connected to us on Twitter or anything that I know of, so... happiest of Joe's and Adam from 816. Can you guys share contact info? So, Joe, you can help Adam with restaurant suggestions later on. Por favor. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ricky, go ahead.
TripAdvisor has a top 10 for outdoor seating restaurants in Columbus, Georgia, also for reference.
All right. Ricky Ricardo says, how's the team getting to Nashville, bus or plane? Believe it'll be a plane. Nashville ended up flying down, so I would assume that Atlanta would fly up. Generally, they do the same stuff. So I have not seen anything. I don't know what time they're going to head up. I think they're trying to go later. They don't want to be just sitting around Nashville all day. Yeah. They did that the first time they went to Fort Lauderdale, where they went down there early, and then they just crashed and napped in a hotel and then went to the stadium. And I don't think they've done that in the other away trips since. I think they've left later. Now, Adam's here, Joe. Adam's in Twitch. Adam from 816. Let me see if I can connect you guys as we do all this, because this is what happens. There we go. All right. I'm pretty sure they're going to fly, Ricky. We will see if we see any specifics on that. You got the twos tonight with Jess against
that is correct.
The Miami FC.
The Miami FC. A little after 7:30 on ESPN Plus. It is action in Group H. Juice boxes have Atlanta United 2 at plus 154. The Miami FC at plus 129. And your draw option is at plus 260. Traditionally, we've seen Miami FC this year. They're kind of chaotic on both offense and defense. The game can get stretched, or with their veteran presence, and they are a veteran club, they can kind of slow things down, try to draw a lot of fouls, draw cards, and put you behind the proverbial 8-ball. So it'll be interesting to see which the Miami FC side we get to see tonight. And it's been a big layoff for Atlanta United too. Their last match was the match in Philadelphia against Philadelphia Union 2, so back on the 2nd. And so it's going to be 3 games. It's the beginning of the last 3-game homestand of the year for Atlanta United 2. It's today, and it is the next 2 Wednesdays, the 16th and the 23rd, as they wind down action in Group H. But looking forward to seeing Mackey and a party, because when you have no Mackey, you have no party. So Mackie Jope, looking forward to seeing him continue to put the ball in the back of the net. Should be interesting, and frankly, and I'm going to look at a particular number off the top of my head. When we called the Miami FC match earlier in the year, it was 4-3. Was that right?
4-3. Yep.
All right. So, looking at numbers, 3.5 is a plus 102. 4.5 is a plus 227. So
it's not high enough for me to guess on that, because you're getting into 5 goals a game. That doesn't happen very often. So we'll see. The Mile High 17 with us out in Colorado. What's up, Hudson? Do referees not study film from previous matches to prepare for games? I know being a ref is rough a gig at times, but players and announcers prepare by being familiar with the teams. What do they do, or do you know? I don't know specifically. I do know that they pay attention to the storylines. There was a video, I think it was back in late 2018, talking about the VAR process, or it was Mark Geiger, and I can't remember if it was VAR, if it was just about Mark Geiger's career. And he was talking about how he knew players who complained a lot, players who talked a lot, players to watch for certain things. So they do study it. They do pay attention. I don't think they're paying attention to this, and I'll say this is persistent infringement specifically. I don't know if they're looking at, well, Atlanta gets fouled a lot, so we should throw yellow cards more. I honestly think that there is an idea in soccer in the U.S. that's okay, that's an acceptable style, that protecting skilled players is not of importance. I completely and utterly disagree with it. And my opinion has probably been colored by this. Diego Maradona is my all-time favorite player, and as a kid, watched in the '86 World Cup before I even knew it was going on, watch him get hacked and hacked and hacked. The 1990 World Cup, I mean, he was brutalized consistently, regularly, playing games with a gigantic swollen ankle because of all of the fouls and physical play that he was being subjected to. You watch games from Italy during Maradona's time there. I mean, if people could have punched him in the face, they would have tried to punch him in the face. And he complained about it quite a bit. You see skilled players over the years get hacked down. I mean, Pelé was basically kicked out of the 1966 World Cup. Not kicked out for being anything wrong, but literally kicked out of the tournament. Fouled so much he was injured. And that was all good. Everything's good. That's how we play here. It's acceptable. It's not. It's not. And I think too often that's just seen as, okay, yep, he's a good player. Let's kick him. And it shouldn't be. And referees should protect that. And they need to. And it needs to change. It needs to change from the way referees are instructed. It needs to change from a higher-up position. Directors of referees need to make it a priority to eliminate these things. One of the first steps that I remember along those lines was cracking down on the tackles from behind, which was good. I mean, that's reprehensible. Go and watch Goycochea from Athletic Bilbao on Maradona in 82 or 3. I can't remember. I think it was 83. Nearly ended his career with a tackle from behind that is just completely and utterly horrendous. Finally, in the years to come after that, they started to crack down on the foul from behind. But now you saw Leandro Gonzalez-Perez, for example, against Ezequiel Barco twice. Very strong, very physical, no intent to play the ball. Got a yellow the second time after he'd already committed another foul where he was beaten and just grabbed him. There should be no place in the game for that stuff. It should not be, okay, well, you get one, and then you get warned, and then you get another one, and then you get a yellow card. No, it needs to be straight away. Start throwing yellow cards on that stuff. If it is just grabbing a guy, okay, warn, then throw a yellow card the second time. If a team is consistently doing it, give persistent infringement, because you don't have to give it just for one player. You can give it for a team's tactics if they start to share the fouls around. It needs to be part of the game, because I don't like games that are just two teams kicking each other for 90 minutes. I like teams that have players who can play and are allowed to play. I think it's a more appealing game. So referees need to be instructed to call it that way, and especially in this country. It's not a part of the game I enjoy at all, and it's very, very frustrating when it comes to Atlanta. The Mile High says, I guess what gets me is the transparency. Do they think this is an okay way to play the game, or are there breakdowns somewhere? There's a difference between pulling someone and kicking, punching. I totally agree. The pulling someone is where you can warn and then give a yellow card for persistent if it's just consistently happening. The fouls on Barco by LGP were more than that for me. It shouldn't have taken the third foul, two of the very hard challenges that were in no way trying to play the ball and could have injured him, and the grab. Like, it shouldn't take all three of those to get a yellow, along with everything else that the rest of the team was doing. The Figal one is just, there's no explanation for it. There's zero way to justify that one in my mind. And I don't care who you are. If you try to say, like, oh, well, there's a difference between the elbow and the forearm. No, there's not. I've watched a little UFC in my day. I believe that people use their forearm in striking an opponent, correct?
And holding them down and
No. No, nobody's holding anybody down in this game. Let's not twist it at all. I'm talking about striking because that's what happened here. Uh-huh. People will strike with a forearm, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He was throwing either the elbow or the forearm, or he didn't care what he connected with. If he was throwing the elbow, if you want to read it that way, well, he's throwing the elbow and he didn't hit him with the elbow. So he's throwing the elbow, and because he has bad aim, he gets off, and he only hit him with the forearm. That's a joke. If he's throwing the forearm, it's the same thing. And in the violent conduct law, and again, I don't want to hear anybody tell me that pro is trying to make a difference between the rest of the arm and the elbow or the fist or anything. The laws of the game makes no delineation between all that. It is if you are struck in the face with any part of somebody's arm intentionally in an aggressive manner, it's violent conduct and you're sent off. There's just no question this was violent conduct. So, I don't know. Uncle No Pockets, what's up, man? How are you? Are you safe? Are you in a better zone these days in the way things are going out in Oregon? Let us know how you're doing, my friend. Yes. We got Colorado. We got Oregon. We've got somebody who's from 816, but not an 816 tonight hanging out.
Yeah.
Good stuff. These Saturday shows are getting weird with everybody checking in from all over the place. We haven't seen Gustavo yet.
No. Here's my question for you that is off of the topics that we've had this morning.
Okay.
With all of the action that we have today going on, mm-hmm. and I mean there is the proverbial blank load of games that are worldwide today. If you were to structure your viewing day beginning to end for the soccer fan, how would you do it?
I can't watch like 10 games in a row. I just do you okay? Then let me ask you, since I guess you can. Do you actually remember anything about the 10 games in a row that you watch? I don't think you do.
I remember enjoying the experience of going from game to game to game to game to game. No, it's like I'm watching soccer. I'm happy. That's my basic tenet here. But if you had your viewing day, if you had your broadcast day of games to watch, what would your games to watch be if you weren't working?
Well, I'm always biased. I'm going to tell you everything in MLS. Like if Atlanta was playing tomorrow, for example, and the games were on, I would be flipping around whatever during the day because there's a difference for me. I mean, if I'm working on things, so if I'm like preparing for the next game or studying or whatever, games will be on, but I'm not watching them intently. I will watch. If we didn't have a game tonight, I would be watching Chicago-Columbus because we're going to see Chicago coming up here in a few weeks. I would probably watch the early games would just be flipped on. The Orlando-Miami game I would watch at 7:30. I would watch RSL-Colorado at 9:30. The other games, I mean, and sorry if I'm not a good enough fan here, I'm generally not going out of my way to watch, not have it on, to watch a lot of Premier League, a lot of La Liga, a lot of Bundesliga. When there's a game that is immediately appealing, yes, I will watch it. Like Liverpool and Leeds today. That's probably one I will take some time for and watch to see how it plays out, to see how Leeds plays. I don't watch games like you. It's not just on. When I'm watching a game, I'm looking at how teams transition. I'm looking at how teams are shaped. I'm looking at a certain player. Or like in the Liverpool Leeds game, I'm looking for how Bielsa has his team set to play. If there's anything different about it, how Liverpool handles it. I'm looking for specific things. Now, there's times where I just have games on, and I'm not watching intently, and then if something happens, or if it gets late in a game and it's tight, or if it's a game that's a cup game or a meaningful game, I'll get sucked into it. But, no, I mean, I'm not just, okay, this game's at 10, this game's at 12, this game's at 2, this game's at 4, this game's... No. Because I can't, watch all of those all the time. If there's games on, there's games on. Like last night I watched the Colombian, it's like their Super Cup. They call it the Superliga. It was the second leg of the previous two champions playing. America de Cali and Junior. And Junior came back and ended up winning this thing. They were down 2-1.
Oh, was this the crazy win we were talking about?
Yeah, they were down 2-1 in the first leg. They come back, they score. It's 2-2 on aggregate. It would have went to penalties. Their 36-year-old journeyman forward gets a nice goal to give them the lead, and then the end was just bonkers with all kinds of shenanigans and an incredible save at the very end on a free kick on the last touch of the game to keep the win. So that was fun to watch, and that was one no, I wasn't watching for 90 minutes. I had it on. I was doing other things. I was preparing for today, preparing for the college game tomorrow, and it got late, and you could hear the excitement in the announcers' voices, and I started paying more attention, and then got sucked in for the last 20 minutes or so.
Looking at juice boxes, going from the numbers from yesterday, Red Bulls are a plus 106 against DC United, who are now a plus 252. NYCFC is now a minus 244. FC Cincinnati has been boosted to a plus 668, and that has even changed during the show. Orlando City's a minus 111. Inter Miami's a plus 294. Your Philadelphia Union are at plus 123. What was your parlay with them, RSL?
Yeah, I think so.
RSL's a plus 108. And then LAFC tomorrow is now all the way up to a minus 185, and Portland is a plus 426 to win tomorrow.
Okay.
So those are some of your juice box changes heading into today and tomorrow in Major League Soccer.
I had a couple questions. Ricky said, "What about when UGA comes back?" Talking to me, it's always secondary. If we have a night game at Atlanta United and Georgia's playing in the 3:30 game, I'll have time to watch some of the first half live, and it'll usually be on as I'm preparing, something like that. If we don't have a game, depends on what other games are in that time slot. I mean, I'll watch it for sure, and I pay attention to it, but, it doesn't take priority over everything else for me. Football's backed up in my priority list a lot over the years. I don't follow, all of college football like I used to. I follow Georgia. I don't follow all of the NFL like I used to. I follow the Falcons. That's about it. I'll watch those games. If there's not soccer on to have on in the background when I'm doing other things, then sure, other games will be on. But it's definitely moved down the priority list for me. There's so much soccer now. I mean, and I've gotten more and more over the last probably couple of years. A lot of it's with Fanatis. I've just gotten more and more into watching the games out of South America. And I probably, and I said this last year, and I thought I was exaggerating, but I'm not. I probably watched more of the Argentine league than anything else outside of MLS last season. And lately I've watched a good bit of the Ecuadorian league, and now the Colombian league is back. Although they did cut really fast to a telenovela, right after the final whistle. That was a little jarring. Because the Colombian network that has the games that Fanatis has is like an Univision. It's not an all-sports channel like TIC. So they cut very quickly to a telenovela, and the telenovela did not keep me entertained. It did not keep me engaged. So no.
What was the basic plot line of the telenovela?
It was, maybe I caught it on a bad episode because it was lots of different cuts to different conversations with people. I never got to the exact big story. Somebody's in the hospital and he looks like he got all beat up, and he was talking to a woman, and then there was a mean dad who everybody seemed scared of him, and it's just all kinds of random stuff. I didn't get the combination.
So there wasn't any intermingling of the plots and the scenes that you could tell. It just seemed like it was all separate stuff.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. That's why I wasn't engaged.
That's disappointing. If it's a telenovela, there's always those elements that are always interweaving with one another, and you understand that the evil dad probably was the one who had the guy in the hospital beaten up, and he's saying, no, it's okay. I was wrong, and that your dad was right, and I'm sorry that we're in this relationship, and this kind of stuff. We didn't have any of that kind of intermingling, it seems. Sorry, I was going off of my old Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, now that we've
lines.
learned that John gets very wrapped up into soap operas today. Okay.
I used to. Now here's the deal. When I broke my leg junior year of high school, it was a tib-fib fracture while I was staying in shape for baseball. And I was riding my bike, and I would do anywhere from 5 to 10 miles, depending on how motivated I was. One of the hills in my neighborhood was straight down 45-degree angle, and of course, me being 17 years old, I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, I'll try to keep up with the pedals on the rotation of the wheels. Left foot slips off the bike pedal, and so I start basically weaving in and out of 2 lanes of this road. I jackknifed and had a tib-fib fracture. So 8 weeks in a cast, I'm at home, leg is up. My day was Young and the Restless at 12:30, Days of Our Lives at 1, alternated between Days of Our Lives and Bold and the Beautiful at 1:30, had Another World at 2, and General Hospital at 3, and or Santa Barbara. So that was where... And I found out later I was like a third-generation Days of Our Lives watcher, which was kind of interesting. But no, when you're mentioning telenovelas, it's like you're looking for that. It's like, come on, it's like where's my plots? Where's my intermingling? Where's the stuff? And you didn't get any stuff, and that's disappointing for a telenovela.
Can we please have a naughty option somewhere in the chain?
Well, some soap operas have naughty options somewhere in the chain, but apparently your telenovela last night on television did not, and that's quite disappointing for a telenovela, sir.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
All right, morning, Mugatu.
Okay. Wow, that took a turn. If you want to watch Colombian telenovelas, fntz.co/soccer down here. They got them. You'll have to check, I believe it's RCN, that they have the Colombian matches on. The Colombian League is back underway, and you can watch that outside of your telenovelas. You can also watch the Brazilian League, the Ecuadorian League, the Uruguayan League, the Argentine League whenever they get back to playing. You'll be able to watch Copa Libertadores, Copa Sudamericana on BN Sports this week. That's back underway. Those will be very, very entertaining. You've also got BN for La Liga, which kicks off this weekend. Barca, Real Madrid not playing this weekend. They get a little bit longer to rest up. Barcelona's playing a friendly today. No Vidal, no Luis Suarez yet, as they still try to figure out what's going to happen with those two guys. They're not in the squad. Let's see. What else is on the Fanatis? Goal TV is where you get the Ecuador and the Uruguayan games, and they're in English and Spanish, which is great. Nino Torres, I finally found him. He's the commentator in English for a lot of those games, and he's great. He's one of my new favorites. Really fun listen. So lots and lots of stuff on Fanatis, including telenovelas, as I learned last night, and Colombian TV. Doesn't have much of a post-game conversation in these games. They just immediately go straight to the telenovela with the dude in the hospital after looking like he got beat up. So
over the top of the hour, you got to hop immediately over. Your window's closed. You got to catch that telenovela on a Friday night already in progress.
Yeah, it was something like that. We got 10 minutes left, and I don't want to talk about telenovelas for the last 10 minutes. So you guys have questions, throw them at us. We will give you a quick rundown of games and how you can watch the rest of the day. Let me get the whole big lineup here. So you got a bunch of things happening right now. The German Cup is underway, and RB Leipzig is leading 1-0 in the second half over Nuremberg. That's on ESPN+. You've got all the Premier League games happening at the moment. Crystal Palace up at halftime on Southampton. That's on NBCSN. I'm guessing the rest are on the Peacock of things.
Leeds and Liverpool is on Big NBC.
I haven't got there yet. That's at 12:30. We're going in chronological order, John. Because there's more at 10. If you don't want to watch the Premier League, you've got Eibar and Celta de Vigo. That's on BN Sports. You have Huddersfield Town and Norwich at halftime on ESPN Plus at the moment. You've got Montpellier and Nice on BN coming up at 11 o'clock in Ligue 1. You have Liverpool and Leeds on Big NBC and Telemundo at 12:30. What else grabs my attention? Because there's a bunch of things. Red Wolves and Richmond Kickers is at 1 o'clock on ESPN Plus. If you have Barca TV, you've got that friendly at 1 o'clock, or you might be able to find a stream there. Pumas and Puebla at 1 o'clock? That's odd. Okay, that's on TUDN. You've got the Turkish Super League back on BN Sports. Galatasaray is on at 1 o'clock. Man, there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
West Ham and Newcastle's on Peacock at 3.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Pacine will be watching that one for sure. You've got the North Carolina Courage and Houston Dash on CBS at 3:30. You've got Chicago and Columbus on TUDN at 3:30. You've got, man, what else do you have? Then all the MLS stuff tonight, which we have went through. You've got Santos and Sao Paulo in the Brasileiro at 6 o'clock on Fanatis. You've got Deportivo Cali and Millonarios at 7 o'clock on Fanatis from Colombia. That's pretty much it. If you need a late game after Nashville and Atlanta's over and you don't want to watch telenovelas, you can watch America and Toluca on ESPN Deportes at 10 o'clock.
A couple of highlights.
Oh, and I missed the Euro Beach Soccer on ESPN Plus right now. It's a semifinal.
That started at like 2:30 this morning.
You,
it's been going all day.
Man, craziness.
A couple of notes, juice boxes from around the country. Birmingham and Charlotte in the USL Championship over in Group G. That's at 7:30. Birmingham is a minus 128. Charlotte's a plus 273. Lou City and St. Louis FC, that's also at 7:30. Lou City's a minus 149. St. Louis is a plus 329 tomorrow. North Carolina FC is a minus 145 going up against Memphis 901 at plus 268. You mentioned what's going on in League One. Red Wolves, minus 101 going up against Richmond at plus 227. Tonight it's Fort Lauderdale and OCB. Fort Lauderdale's your favorite. North Texas SC has had to travel out to Tucson for their match against FC Tucson. Tucson is a favorite there as well. Greenville, Chris Ashley, that will be going out later today. His preview of the No Mingo Zone as they go up against Forward Madison at Legacy early tomorrow afternoon at 3. Greenville is pretty much even money at a plus 102. And your numbers from the NWSL Fall Series, Washington and Chicago at noon, it's pretty much dead even. Washington Spirit a plus 141, Chicago plus 162, and your draws a plus 235. The Courage at 3:30, minus 143. The Houston Dash a plus 283, and your draws a plus 309.
If you're betting NWSL Showcase games with lineups in flux, you are completely degenerate juice box gambler. Tomorrow, big game in Ligue 1, PSG and Marseille at 3 o'clock on BN. I'll be watching Flamengo and the Brasileiro at 5 o'clock as well. And I got to watch because I've been told by El Mataflow that I need to pay more attention to Independiente del Valle. They are on Goal TV at 4:30 against Delfín. Delfín, I believe, has Copa Libertadores this week as well, so I'll be checking that one out. So tomorrow afternoon, actually, I'm going to have to record stuff because I'll be heading up to a college game. Never mind. Forget that. All right. So Ropes had a question. What's the juice boxes on Liverpool and Leeds?
Okay, let's effort the juice boxes. They were fairly high. Liverpool minus 333 right now. And this has gone up. Leeds is a plus 874 to win. That has increased from yesterday. Your draw option is a plus 509.
Plus 874, huh? Mm-hmm. All right. Actually, Ropes asked, what's the Humex on Liverpool and Leeds? And I have the Humex Mango Nectar. I've got a couple other flavors in the fridge. Let's see. Let's see how the Mango Nectar is.
Live tasting.
That's pretty good. What was that number again for Leeds?
Plus 874.
Man.
You want the draw?
What's the draw?
Plus 509.
I don't think Leeds plays for draws. I'm going with a Humex Mango on Leeds. Oh. Liverpool will be just kind of sleepwalking through game one, and they won't know what hit them. So, yes, Humex Mango, it's good. It's going on Leeds United today.
Okay, well then let me, since Tottenham's playing tomorrow and they were minus 102, you've seen all 6 episodes of All or Nothing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What do you think?
That's awesome. I like Jose Mourinho a whole lot more now. It's also made to make him look good. He knows there's cameras on him. He's a good actor. He knows what he's doing. But it's a good show. I mean, I think they're giving me a little bit more than I thought they would in terms of how he operates behind the scenes and all of that. So no, it's really good. I'm excited to see more.
I have, because I basically binge watched when you told me that 4 through 6 were up. I went ahead and just blew through all of those midweek. And I like Jose as a person far more now than my perceptions were previously, because I'd only seen him as a coach and him going three, in those settings. But it's been really cool to see how they've done this. It's been a really fine piece of work.
Okay, before we go, you need to look up the details on Yuki Nagasato's loan from the Red Stars to Japan. Ricky said, did I see that someone was on loan in Japan playing with a men's team? I saw that she was going to Japan, but I didn't see the details, and I didn't know what was going on with this, so we will figure this out. Adam says Ted Lasso is brilliant, and I don't have the Apple TV.
Yeah,
so,
I don't either. I want to see that, but I don't have Apple TV.
Yes, I need to check that out, because I've heard that from a lot of different people, that it's really good. So this needs to happen. Each episode is getting better per Adam. So, man, that's another thing I need to get streaming. I can't get everything streaming.
Nagasato is joining men's club Hayabusa 11 of the Kanagawa Prefecture League in Japan, the only woman playing on a men's club in Japan, just one of the few in football history to do so.
What is that league, first off?
The Kanagawa Prefecture League.
Like, what is it? That's what I'm asking. Like, I mean, I know the name now, but what is it? Third division,
it is,
fourth division?
Hayabusa plays in the second division of the Kanagawa League, one of around 50 regional prefecture leagues that operate 7 and 8 rungs below the J League at the top of the domestic men's professional soccer ladder.
That's what I was trying to get a sense of where it was. Okay. That's odd. I believe there's some like personal stuff to it. If I'm not mistaken, I think she sent a note on her social media channels. I think she's from that area.
Yeah, she's from a city in the prefecture, yes.
Okay, so I think there's a little more to it. It's odd. I mean, if you're the NWSL, I think it's very odd. I don't know exactly what you do with it. So before we go, Bernd Dursberger comes in to do a victory lap. He says, "Good morning, everybody. How do you like my Arsenal top 4 prediction?" You heard it here first. Her brother plays for the team. Thank you, Bernd. I knew there was some kind of connection further than that. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Still, it's weird for Chicago. I hope you're wrong, because I want to see Manchester United be in the top 4. I think Chelsea should be in the top 4. If they're not, then they've got a bigger problem. But I'm with Bernd on Arteta and Arsenal and them having a much better year. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. I need to go, because I've got to do a lot of things to get ready for a game tonight and a game tomorrow. Broadcast plans for everybody. So tonight, 7:30, ESPN Plus, Atlanta United 2, and the Miami FC. John and Jess are on the call for that. We're on about that time. I'm not sure the exact time it'll go up live on the Atlanta United social media channels with our countdown to kickoff with the Atlanta United lineup tonight. We're on 92.9 The Game and radio.com and the Atlanta United app at 8 o'clock for Five Stripes Countdown. Kickoff will be about 8:36, 8:37 from Nashville. We'll have the full-time report for an hour after the match. Tomorrow, Jess and I will be on the call for Chattanooga and Georgia State women, and that'll be on ESPN+. That broadcast will start at 6 o'clock from campus at UTC. And then we'll be back on Monday for a normal Overreaction Monday show, and we'll have a lot of different things to react and underreact and overreact and on par react to from the weekend. So you guys have a good weekend. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And thanks for, I know a lot of you will be watching and listening for all of the stuff coming this weekend. So thank you in advance. We'll be back on Monday. Mucho platiel.
Mucho platiel.